Good morning. We're here, sort of. Sherman and Kelly are here. So, okay. I think we're on. Let me see about the lighting. And then I think we're ready. Yeah, there we go. Is that better? Anybody there? Nobody's writing anything. Nobody's there. Okay. Oh, we ready to do some yoga? Yes, ma'am. So let yourself sit comfortably. You know, if you need a blanket, have a blanket underneath you to give you support. Do stretch your legs out if you'd rather. We've got plenty of social distance going on in here today, so you can really spread out. So close your eyes and let yourself just start to enjoy accepting your breaths in and out through your nose. See if you can feel the breath coming into your belly, feeling your ribs expand a little bit. So coming up from the belly to the ribs, into the lower chest a bit. Face be soft. Let yourself really feel released through your shoulders as you lengthen up through the top of your head. Let our hands come on out beside us, lightly touching the floor here now. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. And then reversing, inhaling the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, opening the arms on back out and down. And let's inhale the arms straight out from the shoulders. Turn your palms up for a second. Let your shoulders release down there. And then just bend your elbows. Let your fingertips lightly touch the tops of your shoulders. And as you exhale, bring your elbows forward towards each other. And then as you inhale, open them back out wide again. So again, exhaling, bringing the elbows forward and towards each other. And as you inhale, open back out. And then one more time, exhaling. Bringing those elbows towards each other and inhaling and open them back out. And now just make circles with your elbows. Doesn't matter how big, you can stay really tiny or you can let these circles get bigger if you choose. Just however, go the same direction over and over because we'll reverse in a minute. And let's stop and go the other way. So again, you can start small, stay small. You can get bigger and bigger with those circles if it feels good in your shoulders. Let yourself just enjoy waking up through the shoulders. One more circle here. Last time that your elbows end up down a little bit towards the ground, go ahead and unfold your arms on down beside you here. And let's inhale the right arm all the way out and up. And we're going to exhale and bring ourselves over into side stretch. Turn your palm up for a second. And press up into the heel of the hand. Let yourself open up through the right side of the body there. And then we'll come on back up. We're going to switch and let yourself again flex through your hand. Press up into the heel of the hand. Feel that sense of space between the ribs. And then we'll come on back up. And from here, let's lean back and switch the cross of our legs if you were cross-legged. Crossing the other leg in front, and then keep your hands behind you. Go ahead and walk them back a little bit. You can stay fingertips, you know that, or you can come flat onto your hands, drawing the chest forward, letting yourself open up here through the front body. And you can look forward if that feels better for your neck, if you like to look up a little bit, or even to let your head come back, right? That depends on how your neck feels. If it feels good to kind of open your throat that way, do. And then we'll come on back up, and we're gonna come forward into a little seated forward bend. Flex the feet, feel the outside edges of the feet pressing down into the ground. You can stay up as high as you want, or you can fold all the way on over, as long as that's okay for your back. You know, grab a block if it feels better to be up on a block with your hands or your forearms or your head. And just let your breath flow fully and deeply now. Feel the expansion of the back body as you inhale. And we're going to slowly start to walk ourselves back up. Use your belly there to help you get back up, releasing your arms out beside you. Let's inhale the arms straight out from the shoulders again. And let's bring our right arm on top of our left, coming into a hug here. Let your elbows melt down. Chin down for a second, so you let yourself release there. And then go ahead and bring your gaze back forward. You can decide if you want to go to half or full eagle wrap, right? Send the backs of the hands towards each other. If you'd rather let that left hand come to the back of the outside edge of your right elbow there, you can with the back of your hand. Or you can come into your full wrap. Let the shoulders melt down. Let yourself feel the elbows just gently rising up a little bit. And then we'll unwind our arms, bringing them on down beside us. Let's float the arms back out from the shoulders here and bring the left arm on top of the right. And again, take your time. Let yourself be easy. Come to your full, come to your half. Come however feels good for you, half or full. Let yourself release there. And then we'll release to bring the arms on down beside us. Fingertips lightly touching, lengthening upward through the top of your head. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's take a couple of breaths here now. Feel your hands just gently coming in, thumbs towards the breastbone, just to let yourself come into your breath in your seated mountain. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. Shake out a little bit. Let's come on around towards our hands and knees. So if you know you like a blanket under your knees, get your blanket. Take your time here. Let yourself get comfortable. And spread your fingers nice and wide if you're on your hands flat. You can be on fists. You know that. It's better for you, for your wrists. And then just ease your way through your cat-cows now. Take your time. If you feel like stopping in cat or cow and staying, please do. You don't have to continuously move. You can, if that feels easier and better for your spine there to move continuously, do. And then finish off. Come on back to more neutral spine. And now just look over your right shoulder and then let your feet come a little to the right. So you're coming into a little bit deeper side stretch there. So your feet just slide over a little bit. You're still looking back towards your feet back there. And then come back to center with everything. And send the feet to the left. Look over your left shoulder. Let yourself look back towards your feet. And then we'll come on back into center again. And let's shift back into pose of a child. So you know you don't have to go fully. You go as far as feels good. Hips towards the heels. Let your arms really, hands reach forward as far as you can walk them out there. Spread your fingers, press into your hands, hug your elbows towards each other. And let yourself feel very equal through the sides of the body here. And then we'll come on back up to all fours. And let's step our left foot forward and come up into a lunge. You know you're welcome to use blocks. You're welcome to let yourself have your hands on the floor here for this first lunge. Press the feet gently away from each other. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. Really reach into that inner heel and zip up your belly. And we're going to switch. So however you choose, whether you like to step forward or back. Getting those feet into the spot where you feel good in your hips. So you know you want to have your feet a little bit apart like you're on narrow railroad tracks. All right, and press the feet gently away from each other. Good. And let's switch. Step the right foot back again. Now, come into a shorter lunge. Really quite a bit shorter. So you're still bent in your front knee, but the heel is not on the floor back there, but you're shorter. And then just straighten your front knee out and let that back right heel go all the way down to the floor. If you have to adjust to do that, do. Not really a pyramid. It's still reaching directly behind you, the heel is. And then bend that front knee. We're going to switch again. So stepping the left foot back. Shorter lunge. Find your calf for a second there. So your heel's still a little off the floor. You're still just bent with your front knee a little bit. And then straighten that front knee out. Get that left heel down to the floor, but it's still really parallel to the outside edge of your mat. And find your calf a little bit there. And then we'll bend the front knee and let's step forward and come into our standing forward bend here. So feet hips distance apart and parallel. You know you're welcome to use your blocks. You can put your elbows above your knees if that feels better. You can hold your elbows if you like that full weight. Just be mindful. Enjoy that sense of being equal through your feet, equally grounded, all four corners of the feet onto the floor. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. And we're going to bend our knees, press into our feet, and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. So find your mountain pose there. Close your eyes. Let yourself take your time here now. Adjust and get really comfortable there as you allow yourself to come into your mountain pose. Feel the feet very equal in the floor. And then we'll unfold our arms on down beside us. And bring your hands behind you. Interlace your fingers. Clasp your hands together here now. And then let's send our hands over towards the right. Let your hands come over. You can rest the hands just a little bit towards the top of the right hip there. Or you can fold that forearm onto your low back. Squeeze your palms towards each other. Activating up into your shoulders, into your biceps. And then we'll come over to the other side. So a little bit or more, totally up to you. Squeeze the palms towards each other. Feel the hands really squeezing. So you feel your fingers. Really be aware of feeling that action up into your biceps, your shoulders. And then we'll release the arms on back into center. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend the knees and fold on forward. Now you know you may just go more parallel to the floor, or you may choose to go ahead and fold all the way over. Bend the knees if you need. Arms can come off the back if your shoulders let you. Feel your feet now pressing down into the floor, and imagine you're trying to make your mat wider with your feet. So you're activating all the way up into the hips here. And then we'll release the hands on back down. And on your next inhale, find a nice long flat back. Lengthen out. And we'll step the right foot back here to come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit there. Take your time. Find your first dog, whatever you need to do. So if you need to move around a little bit, wag your tail or walk, do. Take your time to work through your feet a little bit. If you can go to the tops of the toes, 1 foot at a time, pressing into the tops of the toes, stretching out the tops of the feet a little bit. And then come on back to your full dog. And on the next inhale, we're going to come on out to plank. Nice and strong. So try not to drop into the belly, right? Keep yourself into that plank. And we're going to lower down. Knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And let's come on into Sphinx with our elbows under our shoulders. Spread the fingers wide. Bring your gaze there between your hands. You know, if you need to stay lower, do it. Draw the elbows back more or more forward. One more breath. And then come on down. Slide your hands back by your upper chest and hug your elbows in towards each other. And then just gently lift up into a little cobra. Use your back to do it. Try not to push into your hands too hard. And then we'll come back down. And we'll make our way back to down dog through a half or a full push-up, or back to your hands and knees and back to down dog. Spread those fingers wide, elbows hugging inward. And we'll bring the right foot forward to come into lunge. And then we'll step all the way back into standing forward bend. And release here wherever again. Elbows being held, hands to the blocks or the floor, elbows above the knees. Just take your time. Let your head move around a little bit maybe. Nod it or shake it. You can even add a little bit of the upper body, the torso kind of swaying a little bit. And we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. Bend our knees, press into our feet and rise up. We're going to inhale the arms up overhead. And on the exhale, we'll come forward again. Bend the knees. Come forward from that upper body, from the hips really. Let your next inhale flatten your back out. Find that flat back. And we'll step the left foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into downward facing dog pose. Let's inhale out to that plank. Now once you get into your plank, walk a little bit. Let one knee come down towards the ground. And then bring it back and then try the other one. So just switch back and forth a couple of times. Stay really strong in the belly. Let yourself walk your plank a little bit. Come back to the full plank and we're going to lower down. So again, if you need to put your knees down first, do. Coming on down. And come up into that little cobra, and then if you choose, you can go ahead and press into your hands and come up higher. Elbows hugging in. Shoulders away from the ears. And now we'll come slowly back down to the mat. We'll make our way back into down dog from here, however you choose to get there. Good. And let's bring our left foot forward to find lunge. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. So as you release into Uttanasana, really be comfortable and be with your breath. Really accepting your breaths fully and deeply in and out. And then we'll release our hands back up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing and inhale the arms out and up. And on the exhale, bring our hands down. Come into your mountain pose for a breath here. Feel equal through your feet. Tailbone dropping down. We're going to unfold our arms on down and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to fold forward. Move with your breath here now. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog pose. Let your inhale bring you out to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into your cobra. Exhaling back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees. Rise up all the way up to the top. And on the exhale, we'll fold forward. Inhale into that long back. Exhale, left foot back to lunge. Inhale. Exhale, down dog. Let your inhale bring you to plank. Your exhale will lower you down. And inhale into that cobra. Exhale back to down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward, lunge. And inhale. Exhale, standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising up, arms all the way to the top. And on the exhale, we'll come forward again. Inhale into that long back. We're going to come into down dog. You can walk, you can jump. Take your time. walk a little bit when you get there. Actually, separate your feet wider on your mat, like they're going towards the outside edges of your mat. And then really press out of your hands, feel your elbows hug towards each other. And then walk your feet back closer together, hips distance apart again. And we bring the left foot forward. And we're going to come up for Warrior One. So take your time, ease your way on up, get your shoulders around square, bring your hands to your heart, and see if you can look down at your left knee. And then bend and straighten it a little bit, right? Let yourself really line that knee up. You're grounded in that back foot. The last time that you bend that knee, you get the right distance for yourself and the right width in your stance. Keep the knee bent and then bring your gaze on forward. And let yourself feel equal from your feet all the way up through your legs into your hips. Unfold your arms on down beside you. And we're going to take the right arm and we're going to circle one big circle, coming forward, all the way up, back behind us. Let it come all the way back down and then all the way up again to stay. So you can have more like a wide half of a V or right over your shoulder. Other arm's going to go forward. Left arm comes all the way back behind us and rising it forward again and coming on up into your Warrior One. Bring your gaze up a little bit. Let's actually bend our elbows, clasp our hands behind our head, elbows hug in just a little bit, and just let your head be supported. Press your head a little bit into your hands, not so much that it's tense, more like your head is just being supported in your Warrior One by your hands there. One more breath. And then extend the arms up. If you can keep your hands together, clasp them and send that pointer finger up, dude. Letting yourself feel very equal here through the front and the back of the body, really. One more breath. And then we'll bring the hands right down through the midline in front of our chest. And we're going to straighten the front knee out and turn sideways on our mat. Turn your feet out a little bit for a little bit of goddess. And bend your knees a little bit. So your knees are coming right out over the center of the feet. Bring your arms on up and out. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. And let yourself just enjoy here. Feel your tailbone drop down. And see if you can just shift a little bit side to side. So don't come fully into a straight leg, but you're shifting just a little bit. Kind of stay in the same level if you can. And then come on back to center. Maybe seek a little lower if you can. Imagine that out of the outer hips are dropping down. And then we'll come on up. We're going to turn our feet more parallel again. And we're going to come forward into a wide-legged forward bend. Grab blocks if you want them and you know it. So take your time there. Once you get your hands down, bend the knee at a time. Be mindful of just finding those inner thighs. Let it feel like a huge relief. Now come back to center and turn the toes out like you were in Goddess again. And then bend one knee at a time. Now some of you might want to go down really low in this stretch. That's up to you. You can just bend one knee a little bit. You can shift your hips down and shift back to let the foot come off the floor if you want to, so that you bend one knee and that straight leg comes to the heel. So that's up to you. Just be mindful. And then come on back into center when you're done with those. Turn your feet back parallel. So you're getting now into your wide-legged forward bend. If you want to grab blocks, use them to support you. Let yourself do that. If you want to walk your hands back more towards between your feet or to hold your ankles, just be in a place where it's very, very easy to be with your breath. Just accepting the breaths fully and deeply. Imagine your inhales and exhales being equally important. And one ourselves walk on back over towards that left foot to come back into lunge. So take your time, find your lunge here, and we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, walk a little bit again, come out for a plank when you're ready. And you can come into a back bend or not, that's up to you. You can come down through chaturanga, you know that. You can come into just making your way into your up dog if you'd rather. And then we'll meet back in downward facing dog pose. Walk your dog a little bit. Take your time. Good. And we're going to go to the other side from here. We're going to bring the right foot forward. And we're going to come on up for our warrior one on this side. So adjust yourself. Again, get your back foot really grounded, right? Really get yourself around with your shoulders, and then bring your hands to your heart and look at your front knee as you straighten it and bend it. So you see that it's going right out over the center of your foot. And then finishing off at center. Bringing your gaze on forward. And we're going to unfold our arms. And remember, we're going to circle them. Let's start with the left arm. So let's bring it forward. Let it come up. Big circle. Feel what the belly does as it comes up and around. Bring it all the way back up again. Feel that belly lifting. Feel that length in the front of the left hip. And now the right arm is going to come forward. Up overhead. Back behind you. Reaching on forward and up. Coming into warrior one now. Feeling that lift at the base of the shoulder blades. It's like you have a bar. Right at the base of the shoulder blades, you're lifting up and over. And then go ahead and bring your hands behind your head, interlace your fingers, and support your own head, which is like a relief. And then from here, as we stretch the arms long and interlace the fingers, send the pointer finger up. You can bring the arms forward if you need. One more breath. And then bringing the hands down through the midline to come right again in front of your chest, in front of your heart. We're going to bring our arms down and turn our feet again more parallel. This time we're going to come right forward. So not through the goddess, but now coming on into our wide-legged forward bend. And once you get down there, if you need to bend your knees a little bit, do but one at a time or both of them. And then let's walk our hands over towards the right. Doesn't matter how far. Once you get as far as you want to go, bring your right hand to your right hip. And then we'll make our way back through center, walking over to the other side. So again, only as far as you want to go. Once you get there to where you want to stay, left hand comes up. You can kind of roll that shoulder up if you like adding that little twist. And then we'll come on back. We're going to walk ourselves back to center. And again, be mindful. Get to where you can very easily come into releasing the upper body. So you're standing up, so you're engaged in your upper body and your legs, obviously. But see if you can really let go through the upper body. Really let your head hang. Let your face soften. Feel those ribs expanding on your inhales. And we're going to walk our hands back out so we have a nice long back again. Walk back to your right foot and come on back into your lunge. And we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Once you're in dog, walk to the tops of the feet a couple of times. Let yourself walk a little bit to the top of one foot and then the other. Good. And then bring your feet just a little closer together and lift your right leg up in the air behind you. Bend the knee and open the hip so you can kind of look under your right arm. Flex the foot. Pull the heel of that right foot a little closer in towards your buttocks if you can. Feel your quad. And then stretch it long, turn the toes down, and lower the foot back down to the floor. And we'll go the other side. So left leg up, bend the knee, open the hip, let yourself look under your left arm a little bit if you can. And then see if you can draw that left heel more in towards your buttocks. Reaching back through the knee more. And then stretch it long, turn the toes down, and bring your foot back down. You're on your own here. If you want to do vinyasas, go for it. You can come out to planks, move through to back bends, or put your knees down and rest. And then we'll meet back in down dog. We're going to bring the left foot forward, and we're going to come on up to warrior two. Maybe mask adjustment too. You all at home don't have masks on, so you're kind of lucky. It's okay though, right? Everybody okay?
Yeah.
So let your hands circle around a little bit. Bend into that front knee. Start to reach out through your fingertips here now in your warrior two, bringing your gaze right there over the top of your left hand. Reach equally out through both sets of fingertips. Good. Feel your feet in the floor. And then let's bring our right hand down. Fold your right arm behind you so your forearm comes to your low back. Turn your left palm up and inhale and reach up towards the sky. Reverse warrior here. One more inhale. And on your exhale, we'll come into side angle and see if you can keep your right hand behind you for a second. Draw the shoulder up. You might even send that right hand more to the top of your left hip there if that feels good in your shoulder. And then lay the arm down right there on top of the outside of your right leg, your right thigh. Your hand comes onto it there at the top. And then just trail your fingers right up your ribs, in front of your shoulder and your ear, and stretch it long into that side angle, pressing your hand or your forearm into your thigh. If you want to go lower, you know you can bring your left hand down to a block. Now turn to look at the floor, and we're going to come into lunge. So bring your hands down to blocks of the floor. Find your full lunge here, and we're going to add a twist. Bringing the left hand to the left hip, rolling the shoulder up. And if you like to add the arm, do. Not necessary. Keeping the hand down is fine. If you want to do twisted prayer, you can readjust a little bit if you need. Bring that right elbow across to your left knee. Bring your hands into prayer hands. So you find the twist that works for you. And then we'll release and come on back down. And we're going to make our way back to down dog. Once you're in down dog, let's lower our knees down to the floor. Come back into a little child's pose. And once you get into child's pose, bend your elbows. See if you can put your hands up on your upper back. If that doesn't work, don't do it. So releasing your shoulders there. Letting yourself breathe in your low back. Good. One more breath there. And then come on forward. Kind of slither your way onto your forearms. Send your feet back again and come into a Sphinx pose. Let yourself just enjoy pressing into your forearms. Spread your fingers wide. And then come on down, and you can come into a little cobra or a full cobra if you choose. Pressing up into cobra. If you're okay and you're up in full cobra, see about curling your toes in or lifting your knees up to an up dog. And then we'll make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk a little bit here. And then we'll bring our right foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two. So lining up those heels. Bending that front knee, finding that alignment there, bringing your arms on out. Circle your hands again a little bit. You can even kind of open and close your hands, fists and open, shake them. And then just reach. So it feels very natural to reach out through both sets of fingertips. Bringing your gaze to turn like you're looking out beyond the wall, over the top of your hand, but you're not focusing on the wall. It's like you're looking beyond the wall. Like you've just grown about 2 inches in all directions. We're going to fold our left arm onto our low back, turn our right palm up, and inhale into that reverse warrior. And on your next exhale, coming into your side angle with the left hand behind you if you can. Onto your hand or your forearm there, right above your knee. And if you want to send that hand, that top hand, that left hand over towards the right, more do, if that opens your shoulder more. And then just bring the arm to lay right there on the side of the body. And we're going to start to trail the hand up the ribs in front of our shoulder by our ear. And we're going to stretch it out long, finding your extended side angle here. Turn the pinky down a little bit of that top hand. Let yourself extend through that side of the body. One more breath. And we're going to turn to look down and face the floor. Find our lunge here now before we add that twist. So your left hand can stay on block of the floor. Right hand can come up to your low back. You can stretch the arm up. If you like twisted prayer, you can readjust and bring your left elbow across to that right knee. And then we'll release, come on back to our lunge. We're going to make our way back to downward facing dog pose. And if you want to do any more vinyasas or kriyas, you can. You don't have to do them and you know it. You can come out to plank, you can move to a back bend, or you can put your knees down and rest. So let's all finish off with our knees down and back in child's pose. Once you're in your pose of a child, let your hands walk over towards the right. And just easily stay there so that you stretch out through that left side of your body. Let it be good. Let it feel like just so natural. The breath is doing the work for you. You just breathe into that side. And then come on back through center, and we'll go to the other side. Again, just breathing into the right side. And then we'll come on back into center. And come on up to hands and knees. Curl your toes under. See if you can shift back, okay? If you can come into a squat, you can decide if you want to separate your knees, right? You can keep your knees somewhat forward. Maybe sink your heels down or grab a blanket and put underneath you. Or you can turn your toes and your heels towards each other and your toes out. You can come in any squat that feels good for you. So we're all built differently. You just work on what feels good for your hips and your knees, of course. Just enjoy opening up through the low back, through the hips. If anybody, likes to balance here in a crow pose, you're more than welcome to do it. You can come forward and do that balance, right? I'm not going to attempt it today myself. All right, we're going to come on forward and rise our hips up now and get our feet right underneath us again. Hips distance apart. Lift your toes up for a second. Spread your toes out a little bit. Let the toes release back down to the floor. And then we'll bring our hands on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise on up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding your mountain pose here now. Shift if you need to, right? So if you need to shift a little bit, front to back, side to side, anything that helps you feel more balanced there. Right to left, front to back. Whether your eyes are opened or closed, just imagine you're looking out at the horizon, finding that length in the back of your neck and your throat. Good. And then we'll lower our arms on down beside us and shake out a little bit, swing around your arms, move through your hands, walk around if you need. And you all are going to bring the short edge of your mat to a wall. If you're at home and you have a wall, it doesn't mean you have to move to it right now. You can find a wall where you can just walk to it. We're going to put our hands on the wall and do a little warrior three. But the other thing you can use is a kitchen cabinet. You can walk into your kitchen, put your hands on your cabinet and use that. I know a lot of us don't have open wall space in our homes. You have to kind of make an effort to have that, don't you? So take your time. We are going to walk to, whether it's a kitchen cabinet or a wall, and come into down dog, where we walk our hands down or put them on a cabinet or a table, where we're stretched back into a long, flat back. So my feet are right underneath my hips, elbows are hugging in towards each other. I can feel my shoulders activated. And if I have to bend my knees, I do. But I want to find that long, flat tabletop back. Beautiful. Now, to come into lifting a foot up, you might need to adjust your left foot to get a little more under you. And then bring your right foot up for warrior three. Toes are facing down towards the floor. Now bend both your knees for a second. And then come into straighter legs. See if you can build some strength that way. And again, bend both your knees a little bit. And then stretch back long again. And then one more time. Bending both the knees a little. And then stretch back to warrior three. Toes face down. One more breath. And we're going to bring that foot down. And we're going to bring the other one up. So the leg comes parallel about to the floor or lower. Toes are facing down. Bend both your knees a little bit. And then straighten out again. And try it again 2 or 3 more times if you can. It's actually kind of a relief to bend that knee. And then come into straighter. Beautiful. Good. Finish off the one you're on. And then bring your foot on back down again. And then from there, let yourself walk towards the wall. And actually, for a second, walk towards the wall and come into a plank. And then let yourself do a couple of little push-ups. Not a lot, just elbows hugging in. Let it feel kind of like a relief after what you just did, if that's possible. And then come on away from the wall, turn on around. And we're going to come down onto our mats on the floor. So if you have a wall at your house, get your feet back towards the wall behind you. If you don't have a wall, you're fine. You don't have to use one. Come down into child's pose for a breath or two. And we're going to work a little bit on dolphin pose. So if you have the wall there, for a lot of us it makes it easier. You don't have to even use the wall if you're in class either, right? So you can come to your forearms. Interlace your fingers, send your pinky fingers out. You can lift up and you can put your heels right into the wall here to give you support. Or you can be out in the middle of the floor, right? So you find what works. Let your elbows hug gently towards each other. Come down whenever you need to. And if your shoulders are telling you don't do this, don't do it. Really pay attention, especially, if you've been a little inactive for a while, like all of us. You guys who are in here, if you want to lift a foot up the wall anytime you can. So if it feels good to let yourself bring one foot up the wall, I know some of you might even want to bring both feet up. So take your time. Coming on down when you're ready. And see if you can. Either grab a block if you need to, or just sit on your heels. Make that little bowl where you have your big toes together, your heels apart, and you sit in that bowl. If it's too much on your knees, sit up on that block. Sometimes it's harder on the ankles too, or the tops of your feet, this pose. So just be where you can. Sit up tall. Feel the crown of the head reaching upward. Let yourself feel the sense of where the tailbone goes naturally, right? So your tailbone doesn't tuck forward naturally, which brings your pelvis into a position that's not so good for your low back, right? Your tailbone kind of reaches back a little bit. You have that natural curve in your low back. Good. And then we'll come on forward. We're going to bring our legs on around in front of us. So bring your legs on out, stretch them out a little bit. If you need to sit up on a blanket, by all means do. We'll come and do a little forward bending here. So take your time and let yourself, from here, come into sending your right leg out in front of you on the floor. And bring your left foot in, maybe into your inner thigh, maybe to your inner calf. You know, don't do anything that makes this hip feel or knee feel bad, either one. Use a block if you want underneath. And then just start to move a little forward and back at first. So let your breath, as you exhale, bring you a little forward. And as you inhale, it brings you back up to upright. So it's not like you're going too deep or anything. You're just letting yourself very slowly, as you feel that right heel on the floor, drawing back towards you. You're really engaged in your leg. The next time you come forward, let yourself stay. Now where your hands go is up to you. They may want to reach out to get your foot. They may want to stay on your top of your leg somewhere or beside your leg. Take your time and come into releasing where you're able to be. And then be with your breath. Let your inhales help you find this sense of starting at the base of your spine and then lengthening upward to find space in the spine. On the exhales, maybe you can release a little more forward. One more breath. And we're going to slowly make our way up. Now we're going to stay like this, except we're going to move our right leg over to the side. If this puts too much pressure on your left knee, you can, again, put a block under it, change where the left foot is, or you can bring the leg out if you need to and be in a wide angle. But we're going to come into a little side stretch. So let your right hand slide down that long right leg. You can hold your ankle. You can bring your hand more towards your foot, sometimes bending that right elbow and putting it to the inside of that knee feels really good to me, but that's up to you. And then you can stretch if you want your left arm up and over the top, coming into side stretch. Breathing into that side you're stretching. You don't have to go that far. And don't worry if this left hip comes up a little bit. Your sit bone can rise up off the floor. It's fine. Just let yourself experience that side stretch. And then we'll slowly make our way on back up to the top. And we're going to switch legs, but remember at first the leg's going to come in front. So the left leg comes forward, the right foot comes in, leg is directly in front of you. Again, just start a little bit with your breath. Let your exhales bring you forward, your inhales bring you back up. Let it feel really good. And then when you get ready to stay forward, take your time. It does not matter whether your hands are up high or down low, beside your leg, on top of your leg. Just breathe. Good, so one more breath here. And we're going to slowly make our way back up. And again, this left leg now is going to come out to the side. So you have to adjust your right leg to where you don't feel discomfort in this knee or this hip. Use a block if you need. And then sliding your left hand down. So think about your left knee and your toes facing up towards the ceiling. Doesn't matter whether your hands stay on your shin, the hands can go down more. You can decide whether even bringing that right arm up and over feels good or not. Maybe it feels better to keep the hand down. Maybe it feels better to let it come straight up, right? Breathing into that side you're stretching. And one more breath here. come up, take your time, let your belly help you rise on back up into center. And then we're gonna bring our legs on out and forward and circle through your feet and your ankles a little bit. Let yourself do flip-flops with your legs. And we're gonna come on down onto our backs on the floor. So take your time, come on down. Let yourself release onto your back on the floor. And then bend your knees and put your feet on the floor. Let the knees come a little bit side to side. And then just walk your arms in really close to you. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees. Okay, like you're going to do bridge, but we're not going to push over the bridge yet. And then roll your shoulders under even more. See if you can think about using the arms to help you come a little more to the top of your back of your head. Like a fish pose, right? But your feet are on the floor. So use your arms a little bit just to help you. See if that feels any good. Sometimes it can help open the throat a little easier. So you're like lifting your chin upward towards the ceiling a little bit. And then go ahead and slide back down. Bring your right knee into your chest. And extend your left leg down along on the floor. Flex through both your feet. Let it feel really good. Let your leg press into your hands. And then for a second, don't press the leg in anymore. Hug the knee in and feel how your back collapses to the floor. Feel that relief for a second. And then switch legs. Bring the left leg in. Stretch the right leg long. At first, press the leg into the hands and feel how you get that low back into its natural curve there. And then try just hugging the knee in and letting the pelvis change, right? So that the low back presses into the floor. And then bring both knees in towards the chest. Send your feet up for a little happy baby. And you can do whatever you want here. Hands can stay on the back of your thighs, on the outside of the legs there, and you can roll. You can hold your feet or your ankles or your shins. Let it feel like the biggest relief ever in your back and your hips. And see if you can come back to center with your happy baby and let your right leg straighten out a little bit. Your left knee is still bent. And then bring that foot back to bending the knee and then stretch your left leg long. See how that feels. And you can play with that a little. You can go to the whole wide angle too if you want. Just letting both legs come long. Or bending the knees. And then we'll bring the knees back into center. If you want to curl up into a little ball, you can. If it feels good to draw your face in towards your knees, do. And then come on down. Let your feet come down. We're going to make our way into a little bridge pose here now. So getting the feet about hips distance apart, parallel. Grab your block. You all know who love your blocks. You're more than welcome to use your blocks for supported bridge. So you can press up and roll your shoulders under. Use here your feet pressing into the floor, the engagement here in the thighs to be in your bridge. You can grab a block, even maybe the middle level of a block or the lower level, or 2 blocks if you want to be up really high, if you like to support yourself in bridge. If you don't have blocks and you're in your bridge, you don't have to stay. You can press up into bridge and then just after a breath or 2 come down so that you don't feel like you're tensing up, right? Let it feel like a releasing bridge. If you're on your blocks or blocks and you like to lift your legs up in the air too, you can do that. If that brings more relief to you, you can do legs up, one leg at a time. You can play a little bit with ab work by lowering one leg at a time or both legs. So play for a little bit. And of course, if you want to do a full upward facing bow pose, the full back bend, you're more than welcome to come down, bring your hands above your shoulders onto the floor, and press all the way up. coming down now. Be really mindful. If you were up on the blocks, be careful as you ease your way on down. Bringing your knees on into your chest, letting yourself release there. And then let's keep our right knee in towards the chest and extend our left leg down long on the floor. And stretch that right leg up. You know, you can hold behind your thigh. You can do the big toe hold if you want. You can reach for your foot. You can let the knee stay a little bent. Just enjoy opening up here through the back of the leg. Stay grounded in your left side as you open your right leg out to the right. So take your time, doesn't have to be far. Feel that foot gently or that toe pressing into your hand or the foot or the leg. If you're holding the outside of your leg, press into your hand a little bit. Come back into center. We're going to come across into a twist. Now, how far you go is up to you. You might want to keep your right hip on the floor and let yourself come just a little bit over. Or you may choose to descend on down with that leg towards the floor, coming into your twist. Keeping the right shoulder grounded. You can even turn to look over towards the right if that feels good, to add that into your twist there. We're going to come back up to the top, bend the knee as you bring that knee into the chest, press the leg a little into your hands. And we're going to switch and bring the left knee in and stretch that right leg long. Send the foot up towards the ceiling there, hold on behind the thigh. Again, as you come into, it doesn't have to be a fully straight leg, but a straighter leg you can hold however you want. Of course, if you have a strap at home there and you want to use a strap, do it. Let it feel good to open up the back of the leg and try not to overdo, like you're tensing your shoulders up, right? To force yourself. You're just letting it easily develop there. And now as you open the leg out to the left, remember you can have your hand on the outside of the leg and kind of give it a little support, maybe even pressing the leg into your hand a little bit. Same thing if you have the big toe, you can press the big toe into the fingers there, wrapped around your big toe, finding that inner thigh. And then we're going to come on back up to the top. We're going to switch hands so that we come the other way. So again, you may just go a little tiny way. You may put your right hand on the inside of your left leg there and press the leg into your hand. You may decide you like going farther over. You may like to turn your head to the left, or you may just want to keep your gaze up towards the ceiling. And then we'll come on back to the top. We're going to bend that knee, bring it back into the chest, and bring both knees on into the chest. From here, let yourself just roll the knees side to side. Or maybe you'd rather circle your knees. Really pay attention to what feels very, very good to you. And there may be something else you want to do. So now's a minute or two here to do what feels good. If you need to do a plow pose, do a plow pose. If you like to come into another stretch for your hips, if you feel like a wide angle again, or a coming into a Baddha Konasana, or that figure four where you cross your ankle above your knee and bring your knee in. You know, I'm giving suggestions, but really try not to listen to them. Try to let yourself do what your body wants to do, right? And that could be anything. Before Shavasana, you want to be able to release as best you can. And you're welcome to roll over and come into a full pigeon pose if you'd rather. So take your time. Be mindful of listening to what your body kind of wants to do before Shavasana. so here, if you're in the studio and you need some support, let me know. I would love to bring you a blanket bolster if you need. So as you start getting ready for Shavasana, just let your arms and legs be comfortable. Whether you let the arms come out a little bit away from you and turn your palms up, and your legs separate a bit, feet towards the corners of your mat. But if that's not comfortable, get comfortable. Use support under your knees or under your head. And let yourself just very easily start to be with your own breath. Accepting your breaths in and out. And if those of you at home can stay in Shavasana longer because it really feels good for you, I won't come back to you. I will just gradually, in a few minutes, come off the recording and you can stay as long as you like. Those of us here in the studio, just take your time. You know I'm going to bring you back. Let yourself allow your breath to bring your body and your mind into that quieter place. Giving yourself these few minutes to completely and fully relax.